The reputation preceding Jack Vitalis. Stories about the actor Jack Vitalis have passed into theatrical legend. Most actors treasured their experiences of working with the notorious and charismatic Greek-born Englishman. To the general public, he was known whenever he appeared on screen simply as, "Oh, it's that bloke who was in Whatchamacallit, and that other one with Glenda Jackson." There were many stories, some of which were exaggerated, some apocryphal, some that Jack remembered when they were told back to him and which made him smile, although some he enjoyed correcting slightly, where he felt embellishment had crept in. There were some he didn't recognise, and one or two of which, horrifyingly, he had absolutely no memory of whatsoever. Such as this one. Though the stories of his exploits and mischief could be breathtaking as well as toe-curling, Jack Vitalis was never, ever, one moment late for a rehearsal or a performance, which added a more than intriguing paradox to his reputation as a hellraiser. He always knew his lines on the first day of work, although he carried a script in order to put less experienced actors at their ease, and he took care not to talk too much in rehearsals, as time was inevitably precious, and, all in all, he was an exemplary professional actor. He needed to be. He needed the work to support 2 children from 2 failed marriages and to fund his ungovernable liking for alcohol. But his professional discipline was an effective foil for his excessive drinking. Yes, he carried the most discreet of hip flasks filled with vodka for his coffee, and, as long as he was able to take lodgings alone, he always kept a bottle of port and one of brandy should he miss last orders. When Jack had been a young actor starting out in repertory, he had had an extraordinary encounter with alcohol which didn't actually involve him. On a backstage tour of a production in progress, Jack noticed in a quick change room several, more than several, small glasses full of what looked like scotch. These little glasses were all lined up neatly in a row. Jack noticed them and asked the stage manager, who accompanied him, "Whose dressing cubicle is that?" The stage manager turned suspiciously and sharply and said, "That is the exclusive changing area for Miss Alwyn Carnegie." Jack found himself staring at the line of about 12 or 13 shot glasses of scotch. "And if you're wondering about the drinks, those are brandies, which Miss Carnegie takes during her changes of costume." "But isn't that against theatre discipline?" "In point of fact, young man," replied the stage manager, "if Miss Carnegie didn't have those brandies, we wouldn't have a show." "But those must keep her pissed for the whole performance," laughed Jack. 13 large brandies? Fuck me." "On the contrary, young Jack," the stage manager admonished, "those 13 brandies keep her steady for the whole performance, as steady as any galleon in a storm." Generally, although he was a very sociable member of the theatre companies he worked with, Jack Vitalis drank alone after performances. He felt his intake might cause astonishment to younger actors. On tour, he went to great lengths to find a quietly secluded pub where he could drink a few beers and absorb himself in the Times crossword, which he usually managed to complete before a very large nightcap of scotch. At the time of this particular adventure in 1970, Jack was enjoying playing the eponymous role in a television series called Gunner, which wasn't an enormous critical success and didn't really help to make our hero a household name, but it did more than help to keep his creditors and his ex-wives at bay, and it served him well with his agent, who received offers from many provincial theatres whose audience numbers might be augmented considerably with the presence of a currently popular television actor. And so, Jack Vitalis found himself at the Crofters Theatre, Willenpool, playing the part of the cunning Lothario Horner in William Wycherley's The Country Wife, who boasts hereditary impotence in order to gain the trust and eventual intimacy of many curious neighbouring ladies. During the rehearsal weeks, Jack found the perfect public house, the sprightly Cricket Inn, along a murky back street behind Willenpool bus station, where the few locals imbibed quietly in corners and only the occasional game of dominoes broke out. Sipping his beers and nightcap scotch, Jack Vitalis could slip back to his digs for more by way of the late-night takeaway. When the country wife was up and running, Jack was a little concerned that the curtain fell at 10:15, leaving less than an hour's drinking time with his crossword. However, the barman confided, seeing that he had been a regular over the last month, and that many off-duty policemen looked in well after closing time also, that Jack would be welcome to stay a little longer should he wish.